NBA legends share their Michael Jordan. Some legends fade with time. Michael Jordan isn't one of them. Somehow, every year that passes makes him feel even bigger, even scarier, even more like the one player who truly broke the game. And what S. Wild is, it isn't just the fans who keep his name alive. It was the players, the legends who actually played against him, who can stop talking about the things he did on the court, the things he said off it, and the moments that still haunt them decades later. Because with Jordan, it was never just basketball. It was an experience, a psychological event, a storm that walked into the arena wearing number 23. And the players who lived through it, they talk about him with the same mix of fear, respect, disbelief, and straight-up trauma you hear from people who survived something they weren't prepared for. Some remember the trash talk that cut deeper than a punch. Some remember a single move, one footwork detail, one mid-air adjustment that made them question everything they thought they knew about the sport. Some remember how the building felt different the moment Jordan walked in. The noise changed, the energy shifted, the temperature of the entire arena felt like it rose. And then there are the darker stories, the ones players only started sharing years later. The mind games, the psychological warfare, the way Jordan used pressure like oxygen, the way he hunted weaknesses, not just on the court, but inside people. Some players still say the scariest thing wasn't the scoring. It was how much Jordan enjoyed breaking someone. What makes these stories even crazier is that they didn't come from rookies or random role players. These came from Hall of Famers, MVPs, defensive legends, players who dominated everyone else except him. They all have a Jordan story, and every one of those stories reveals a different side of who he really was. A competitor who didn't just want to win. He wanted to prove a point. He wanted to leave a mark. He wanted you to remember him long after the final buzzer. So, today we re-diving deep into those first-hand accounts, the wildest, rawest, most unbelievable Michael Jordan stories NBA legends have ever told. Stories that didn't just show what he did, but who he was. And once you hear these, you will understand why even the greatest players alive still say the same thing. There was Michael Jordan, and then there was everybody else. Section 1. The day Jordan decided a game was personal. Every NBA legend has that one moment when they realized Jordan wasn't like anyone else. But for some players, that moment didn't happen during a highlight, or a poster dunk, or even a buzzer beater. It happened before the game even started during warm-ups, when Jordan would spot someone, lock eyes for half a second, and decide right then that tonight was personal. Take former All-Star Jeff Van Gundy's famous warning, a moment players still joke about. He once said Jordan would pretend to be friendly just to lure opponents into a false sense of comfort, and then ruthlessly destroy them the moment the ball tipped. According to multiple players, you could literally see Jordan smile when someone trash-talked him. Not a happy smile, you just gave me a reason smile. And nobody learned this lesson harder than Byron Russell. The story is practically NBA folklore now. Jordan was retired, gone, peaceful, golfing, living life when he visited the Utah Jazz practice facility. Russell, young and fearless, saw him and said the worst possible thing someone could say to Michael Jordan. "Why do you quit? You know I could be locked you up." Jordan didn't respond. He just stored it, like a bookmark on a future victim. Years later, Game 6 of the 1998 Finals. The score tight. The world watching. Russell guarding him finally getting the matchup he asked for. Jordan dribbles, hesitates, and in one motion that lives rent-free in history, he hits the shot. The series-ending dagger, the pose, the silence, the crowd frozen. Jordan later said that entire moment was fueled by Russell's comment from years earlier. And here's the crazy part. Stories like this aren't rare. NBA legends say Jordan didn't need motivation, he would invent motivation. Some guys avoided talking to him entirely because they didn't want to accidentally become the storyline of the night. But as wild as this is just the beginning, because some players didn't just wake the beast, they got dragged into Jordan's psychological battlefield, a place that made even the toughest stars crumble. Section 2. The psychological warfare. No one was ready for. For most players, guarding Michael Jordan was already a nightmare, but what many didn't realize, at least not until it was too late, was that the real battle wasn't physical at all. It was mental. Jordan turned the court into a chessboard, and he was always 3 moves ahead. NBA legends still say the scariest part wasn't the scoring or the athleticism, it was how he invaded your head and never left. One of the clearest examples comes from Gary Payton, one of the toughest, loudest defenders in league history. Payton didn't fear anyone, not Shaq, not Kobe, not anyone. But even he admitted that guarding Jordan was like dealing with a moving storm. He said Jordan didn't just trash talk, he analyzed how you reacted to it. If your face tightened or you looked irritated, he knew he had you. If you ignored him, he spoke louder. If you talked back, you handed him fuel. But perhaps the most chilling story came from Reggie Miller, a man who built an entire career on talking smack. Early in his rookie season, Miller tried taunting Jordan, thinking it would throw him off. Big mistake. Jordan didn't yell back. He didn't push. He didn't even react. He just stared emotionless like a predator who'd spotted a target. Then, in the second half, Jordan completely dismantled him. After the game, he walked over and delivered one of the coldest lines ever said on an NBA court. Don T ever talked to Black Jesus like that. Players say that wasn't a nickname Jordan made up. It was a label given by those who experienced moments like that firsthand. But the mind games didn't stop with trash talk. Jordan studied tendencies like a detective. He knew which shoulder you preferred, which foot you planted first, and exactly when your confidence dipped. He didn't compete against your skill, he competed against your belief. And just when players thought they understood his psychological approach, Jordan revealed an even darker layer. Section 3. When Jordan broke. Players without saying a word. Some legends say Jordan's trash talk was devastating. Others say his mind games were brutal. But the stories that stand out the most are the ones where Jordan didn't say anything. No words, no taunts, no stare down. Just pure, silent destruction. And for a lot of players, that silence was even more terrifying. One of the most famous examples came from Steve Smith, an all-star and one of the league's most respected scorers. Smith wasn't a rookie. He wasn't scared. He de-battled elite defenders his entire career. But he admitted that guarding Jordan during a normal regular season game felt like trying to stop a ghost. Not because Jordan was invisible, but because his rhythm was so unpredictable. Every move was a setup for another move you didn't see coming. Smith said there was one game where Jordan scored on him 3 straight possessions without a word. So Smith tried talking a little bit, not trash talk, just something competitive to shake him off. Jordan didn't respond. He didn't even look at him. He just walked back down the court, caught the ball again, and scored. And again. And again. After a while, Smith said he felt like he wasn't guarding a player, he was guarding inevitability. Then there was Mitch Richmond, another elite scorer, who openly said Jordan made him feel powerless. Richmond was strong, fast, disciplined, the kind of player who didn't back down from anyone. But he said Jordan had a way of breaking your timing. He'd D-lean on you a second early, he'd D-shift a half step later than you expected. Every decision you made suddenly felt wrong. And he did all of it in silence. Even Dominique Wilkins, who physically matched Jordan better than almost anyone, said the scariest part wasn't the dunks or the scoring bursts. It was the stretches where Jordan got quiet. When he stopped talking, stopped reacting, stopped showing emotion that's when players knew the storm was coming. And once Jordan got into that zone, you weren't going to stop him, you were just going to survive him. But as brutal as his silent destruction was, things got even more intense when Jordan targeted someone directly. Section 4. The Knights. Jordan chose a victim. Every superstar has big games, but Jordan had something different target games. Nights where he singled out one opponent, circled their name mentally, and unleashed a level of focus that players say felt almost supernatural. These weren't random explosions. These were calculated personal missions. One of the most infamous stories comes from LeBradford Smith, a quiet, humble guard who never sought attention. In 1993, Smith played the game of his life against the Bulls, dropping 37 points on Jordan. For any young player, that should have been a dream moment, but Jordan saw it differently. After the game, he claimed Smith said, "Nice game, Mike." Whether Smith actually said it or not didn't matter. Jordan believed it. Or maybe he wanted to believe it, because the very next night, in the rematch, Jordan annihilated him with 36 points in the first half. Not the game, the half. It was one of the biggest personal vendettas ever seen in the NBA. And afterward, Jordan admitted he made up the quote out of thin air. That, yes, how deeply he craved a target. Then there's Brad Sellers, a former teammate who once joked about Jordan-esque golf swing. That tiny remark turned into days of relentless punishment in practice. Sellers said Jordan would score on him, then whisper, "Say something now." It wasn't a joke anymore, it was a warning. And of course, rookies were his favorite. Any young player who came into the league with hype Grant Hill, Penny Hardaway, Allen Iverson got the full treatment. Jordan didn't just want to outplay them. He wanted to show them that no matter how talented they were living in his era. But the most chilling part? Players say he wasn't angry during these games. He was calm, focused, almost cold, like he was checking off a task on a list. And yet, even these target games were nothing compared to what happened when a star player challenged Jordan publicly. Section 5. When superstars challenged Jordan and paid the price. If trash talk from rookies annoyed Jordan, then challenges from superstars ignited something even more dangerous. It wasn't enough to beat them. Jordan had to embarrass them, outthink them, outscore them, and leave no doubt who the real alpha was. And every generation has one moment where a star player poked the wrong bear. One of the most well-known examples is Clyde Drexler during the 1992 finals. Drexler was an MVP candidate, explosive, smooth, and widely compared to Jordan. The media kept pushing the narrative that Clyde was on Jordan-esque level, and that comparison lit a fire that Clyde never recovered from. Jordan admitted later that he took that matchup personally, deeply personally. In Game 1, he dropped 6 threes in the first half, turned to the bench, shrugged, and walked away like it was nothing. That shrug wasn't arrogance, it was Jordan saying, "You really thought he was close to me?" Then there was Charles Barkley, the 1993 MVP. Barkley loved MJ, but even he joked that after facing Jordan in the finals, he realized, "I might be great, but that man is just better." Barkley said he played the best basketball of his life in that series, yet he still lost. Jordan didn't just beat the league MVP. He controlled every possession like a puppeteer pulling strings. Another unforgettable moment came from Alonzo Mourning. Zoe was a defensive monster, tough as nails, never backed down from anyone. But even he admitted that Jordan had an aura that made you hesitate for half a second. Mourning said the worst part was when Jordan smiled before scoring, because that smile meant he knew exactly what he was about to do to you. But no story captures the price of challenging Jordan better than Kobe Bryant's early battles with him. Kobe wanted to prove he belonged. Jordan respected that. And then he destroyed him anyway. Kobe once said Jordan didn't guard you, he studied you. And once he learned you, you were done. Still, even the superstars didn't get the worst of it. Because the darkest, rawest Jordan stories didn't come from stars, they came from his own teammates. Section 6. Inside the Bulls. The brutal stories only teammates saw. NBA opponents feared Jordan, but teammates, they lived with him. They practiced with him. They caught the full force of the fire he usually reserved for other teams. And to this day, former Bulls players say the stories that leaked to the public were only a small taste of what really went down behind closed doors. One of the most famous examples is the clash with Steve Kerr. Kerr was tough, competitive, and unafraid to speak up. But during a heated practice, Jordan pushed him figuratively and literally until Kerr finally snapped and hit him in the chest. Jordan punched him back, hard, and the entire gym went silent. Kerr called it the moment he earned Jordan's respect, but he also admitted it showed how far Jordan pushed everyone around him, every single day. Then there's Scott Burrell, the player who probably took more verbal hits from Jordan than anyone else. Jordan picked on him relentlessly, not because he hated him, but because he saw Burrell as too nice, too relaxed, too gentle for a championship mindset. Burrell later said that Jordan's trash talk was brutal, borderline hostile, but it forced him to grow thicker skin. Some teammates understood the method, others quietly resented it. But the darkest teammate story comes from Will Perdue, who described practices as war zones. He said Jordan would humiliate guys, call them soft, challenge them physically, and even dare them to fight. Perdue wasn't a small guy 7 feet tall, but even he admitted Jordan broke him mentally more than once. And yet, every player who survived those practices said the same thing. Game nights felt easy. And of course, there was Scottie Pippen. Jordan pushed Scottie harder than anyone, not out of cruelty, but because he knew Scottie was the only one wired to handle the load. Their relationship had tension, ego, respect, and competition all mixed together. But without that pressure, the dynasty doesn't exist. Still, as intense as Jordan was with teammates, there was one group of people who experienced a completely different beast. Section 7. When even referees admitted Jordan controlled the game. Most superstars influence a game. Michael Jordan commanded it. And nobody understood that better than the referees, the officials who were supposed to enforce order, maintain balance, and keep the biggest egos in check. But when Jordan stepped on the court, even the refs say the energy shifted. The rules didn't bend for him, they folded. Former NBA referee Hugh Hollins once admitted that calling a game with Jordan in it felt different. Not because he was favored on purpose, but because the entire arena, fans, players, coaches, hung on his every move. When Jordan drove to the basket, tens of thousands of eyes watched to see if a foul was coming. Refs weren't reacting to Jordan, they were reacting to the pressure of the moment he created. And then there's the legendary story from referee Darryl Garretson, who openly said Jordan was the only player he ever saw who could change the tone of a game with a single glare. Garretson recalled moments where Jordan would get hit, miss a shot, and look at him not with anger, but with disappointment. And suddenly, the next possession felt heavier. The whistle came quicker. Not because Jordan demanded it, but because everyone in the building felt like something was wrong if he didn't get the call. Even more incredible is what referees said about Jordan's defense. Several officials admitted they sometimes hesitated to call fouls on him because his footwork was so perfect, his hands so precise that they second-guessed themselves. If it looked like a foul, they assumed they must have missed something. That's how clean he played, and the intimidation wasn't always loud. Former ref Steve Javey said Jordan would occasionally walk past him after a call he didn't like and quietly say, "You sure?" No attitude, no argument, just a question. But coming from Jordan, that question wasn't small, it was enormous. Players argued, coaches yelled, fans screamed. Jordan didn't need to do any of that. His presence alone changed decisions. But even that wasn't the craziest part. Because the most unbelievable Jordan stories, the ones that feel almost unreal, came from moments when he made the impossible look routine. When you hear these stories back to back, you realize something powerful. NBA legends aren't just talking about a great player, they're describing an experience, a presence, a competitive force that left a permanent mark on anyone who had to face him. Decades later, these memories haven't faded, they've sharpened. Because Michael Jordan didn't just outscore people, he changed them. He humbled rookies, crushed superstars, pushed teammates to their limits, and controlled entire arenas with nothing more than a look. That is why these stories matter. They are not nostalgia, they re-evidence. Evidence that the impact Jordan made wasn't temporary, it was generational. Every legend has their moment, but Jordan, he has an entire library of them. And that is why, no matter how many years pass, the respect stays the same. The fear stays the same. The myth stays the same. Jordan didn't just play basketball. He became the standard everyone is still chasing.